And if we ask the stars what they mean, what would they say back to us? Welcome. You want to go on a card journey today? Give me some of your time, and I'll give you some of your story. Well, let's see what the cards say.
Hey there, Scorpio. Welcome to Koi Plays Tarot. My name is Koi. I'm going to be your tarot card reader for today. What we're looking at in this round of reads is your first and last for the month of October. First and last is a style of reading that I do where we have the aces on top, tens on the bottom, and as we move into the new month, what's new and what is an ending or conclusion we're coming to. In the aces, just like the tens, we have water, earth, fire, and air all going across, the elemental collectives, but even more so, in the top with the aces, what's new, what are we feeling invigorated about, what's coming in, or even the notion of renewal, depending on the context. With the tens, ultimatums, conclusions, and endings. What do we find at the end of the day? As a preamble to the reads, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, but don't always be so willing to reverse. I know that at times, especially if it gets difficult, we may have a tendency to just completely reject that which makes us feel uncomfortable, but that's why I'm your tarot card reader, right? I'm not ever gonna purposely try to misguide you or lead you in a way that wouldn't be for your benefit. I read what's on the board. So follow along with me in your read today, Scorpio. And yeah, let's see what the cards say. So that's the cards that we need to see, please, for Scorpio in this read. Looking first at the Ace of Cups, your home element of water. And this first and last for October. What do we need to see, please, for Scorpio? To the Ace of Cups. Okay, I like that. Seven of Cups, the notion of possibility, everything at your fingertips. How so? Four of Swords, a moment of reprieve and respite. How so? Two of Swords. That's interesting. So I think it's good to have options available, and at the same exact time, now that there's so many options, it's like you don't even know what to do with them, right? Having that Two of Swords and that Four of Swords together, confusion and relaxation, but it's also defined by that Seven of Cups under an Ace. Now, putting that together, Scorpio, what I'm seeing is you're excited and actually happy that, I have a lot of things going on right now, and it feels good to, be quote unquote booked and busy depending on your circumstance, right? But it feels good to have all these options available. And now that I have a moment to breathe about it, oh my gosh, what do I do with it? Right? Don't panic. It's good to have options available to you. Again, that provides a level of safety and comfort. But more than that, it's about understanding tangibly, what do we want to do with that? Right? Because options will stay options until decisions are made. That's just kind of how it works. Moving to your Ace of Pentacles. Show us cards that we need to see, please, upon the Ace of Earth. What are tangible new opportunities available or made available for Scorpio this time around? To the Ace of Pentacles. Five of Swords. Okay. Why do we feel like we're just not getting it right? Queen of Wands. Two of Cups. Okay. So, I'm still getting two different kind of directions, but essentially the same exact scenario, just in a different form. The first, these new opportunities, you want to embrace them all. I get it very much abundantly. That Queen of Wands right there underneath the Ace of Pentacles. Hey, if it's there for me, I want to go get it. I want to go hold on to it, right? However, the notion of self-sabotage is still coming from that level of confusion because that Two of Cups, what does that intimate moment or what does that investment actually look like for you? Right? That's coming off in two scenarios. A, if this is more business oriented, hey, you got your answer. Right? What does it mean to finally have all these doors opening and then having to choose one, right? Instead of that choice being forced upon you. The next is, okay, we have options potentially in love and partnership. And we feel that with so many options, we're kind of just stuck in a state of, I don't want to say paralysis, but we're stuck in a state of debate where it's not helping us anymore. Right? Good. We have all these options made available to us. What do we actually feel? Right. And that's the reason why we feel we can't get intimacy, right? It's not because intimacy is not within you, Scorpio. Trust me, you're a water sign. Naturally, the notion of not just the fiery passion of what it means to be connected to somebody, but the emotional weight of it all and also the emotional depths of it all for you as a water sign, that kind of comes naturally, right? The question then becomes, what do we do with that? And that's what I'm seeing here. There's definitely the desire to embrace for those of you who, hey, this is more of an intimate partner kind of thing. But because we haven't actually made a choice with all those possibilities yet, it's coming off as we don't know how to navigate this. And I really want us to sit with that for a second of, how we had so many options available and it only gave us confusion. To the Ace of Wands, the real Ace of Wands for Scorpio upon their read was held upon the Ace of Wands, the fire that drives us forward. Reveal that Ace of Wands. Ooh, I have 2 cards popping out right now. Hold on, give me a second. The Ace of Wands upon this journey. And I do count that as hitting the table because otherwise it looks at the floor. Okay. The first, for this, the fire sphere that drives us, 9 of Swords. Okay. And that was the card that was I thought it was trying to pop out into my hand, but nightmares and anxieties about what it means to be driven. Okay, we're getting to a more honest conversation. 10 of Cups. Harmony and purpose. Why do we feel driven towards that? And the Queen of Swords. Oh boy, let's talk about it. So, for those who are more on the business venture end of this journey, Scorpio, I'm looking at somebody who are kind of afraid of their own dreams right now, right? They're looking at things of, okay, I can understand something is factually true, but it doesn't change how I feel about not believing in it, right? And it's just so curious as to why, because, sometimes to have all this stuff at our disposal means that things could be going right. And there's just this part of you where, we're not going to engage with that at all. It just seems too good to be true. And therefore, as a self-fulfilling prophecy, those doors will eventually shut. That's the first. The second, and this goes for more of the intimate partner route. Again, I'm seeing 2 very distinct stories here, Scorpio. That's why. For those of you who is going on the intimate partner route, I don't want to say you're afraid of love and intimacy, but you're definitely afraid of connection, right? What happens if, because you're being raw, emotional, and real here with that Queen of Swords, and then that 9 of Swords as well, encasing that 10 of Cups. What happens if within all my options and all the people that I've been meeting, what happens if I've actually found somebody who I want to explore deeper with? What does it mean when we're not playing the game anymore? What does it mean when it's not frivolous anymore? What does it mean when we actually sit down and say, this is what I want? And to that Scorpio, I would say right now, intimacy is terrifying you. Again, I think the closer that we get to what we want, at least in this scenario, Scorpio, we're also saying the farther we have to push it away. And I'm not entirely understanding why, because again, that harmony came after such a long time of hoping that all these things would be available to us. And then when they weren't made available, it's like, okay, now I need to exit. So I would want us to sit with it for a second and ask, hey, why do I feel this impetus to just push it away Is it the disfamiliarity with those vulnerable feelings, or is it the notion that we do not want vulnerability in the first place? Because in order to get to that intimacy and honesty, you need vulnerability. Those two they kind of go hand in hand. Ace of Swords, reveal the Ace of Swords. Thoughts, challenges, and truths for Scorpio upon their read today. There we go. To the Ace of Swords, okay. Truth is, the process is what it is. Seven of Pentacles. Okay, so we understand everything that I kind of just said of we can't have it both ways right now. We got to make a choice and stick with it. How so? Seven of Wands. And the very thing that we understand is the same thing that we're guarded from. Okay, at least we're honest. At least we're honest, right? And I want us to, give ourselves a grace to say, hey, this is just where I'm at right now. If I'm not ready to receive it, then that doesn't mean that I'm just flat out being malicious towards it. It means that I need to understand that which is going on within me. Emperor, the card of Aries. Because when it boils down to everything, Scorpio, you got to make a choice, right? With all this possibility, with everything that we claim that we want to embrace and then feel like we're immediately throwing it into the wood chipper, right? We have to say eventually, okay, if I say I want this and it comes towards me, then I also got to be willing to accept that fully. Not just for the feeling that it gives me, but what it means to be present with myself in that dynamic. Underneath it all, Four of Wands. The boundaries set and agreed upon journey of a relationship. Four of Wands, creating walls and boundaries. And here, this, again, it could still be for the Scorpios who are on that business track of saying, okay, what do I actually want out of this? But this is now more leaning towards the Scorpios who say, hey, what's that four-letter word that starts with the L? It's something that we have to question, something that we have to ask. But at the end of the day, if we say we want something like that, then we also got to meet ourselves in that version of ourselves that would be in that scenario. Right? I don't want us to immediately reject anything because we see it as a loss of option. A loss of option could also be the creation of something much better, right? All options are not meant to be taken, right? We can't do everything at once. Next, we look towards the tens. A real tens for Scorpio in their read, going back to their home element of water. What about synchronicity for Scorpio and their placement in this journey right now? First and last in the month of October, reveal the Scorpio cards you need to see, please. That is a break. Okay, well, it could just be bad shuffling. Who knows? What about the Ten of Cups in this read? Reveal the cards that you need to see, please, upon that Ten of Cups. Ten of Cups. Four of Pentacles. Okay, so holding on to an investment. The question becomes, what does that investment mean in the grand scheme of things? Because I saw it at the beginning, right? I saw it with all those options available, but it's not really choosing any one of them. How far will that get us? Star, card of Aquarius. What is our hope, our dream in the scene of darkness? Ten of Wands, that we can encounter this burden and pick it apart little by little. Okay, so if it's a safety mechanism that we worried about with whatever options are made available to us, Scorpio, understand it's not about trying to bolster that entirely or trying to make sure that our shell is hardened, right? Our shell is hardened, our stinger is ready, and they ain't got nothing to do about what we want. Not a solitary thing. Here, and I'm saying that because we're balancing a burden upon hope. Right, the Ten of Wands and the Star trying so hard to make that hope alive, but we're keeping attached to the former investments that we had, which was, as we saw earlier, creating just more walls, creating more on that shell that we have, right? More defensiveness, and it's not getting us to where we want. And the harmony that we have to understand right now, yes, we have this purpose, but how far is that investment going to get us? right? The reason why it feels like a burden right now is because I think we got the pragmatic and effective solution out the way. Now, what is the why? What is your why? Because I think your why will help you loosen some of that grip on some of these walls that have been built up, or some of these defense mechanisms that's being held on to right now. To the Ten of Pentacles. Reveal the Ten of Pentacles. We're in the read for Scorpio. What are the cards that we need to see, please, for Scorpio in their read upon that Ten of Pentacles today? To the Ten of Pentacles, Judgment. Okay. So the time is now. What decision will we make that will impact the rest of our lives? Right? What is the bigger lesson that we have to learn of the self here? Queen of Cups. An endearment of the self, but knowing how to show our water, show our heart in its most endearing and rawest form, which requires vulnerability. Wheel of Fortune, that things can in fact change with time. And so to get to where we want to go, Scorpio, whatever this offer means to you, the bigger lesson that we have to learn is not, oh, how do we set up the situation and navigate so nobody can catch a slip on us, right? It's more so the lesson of, when is it okay for me to drop my defenses? When can I let all of my defenses go? When is it okay for me to just be? When is it okay for me to do that? Right? The Wheel of Fortune suggesting that eventually these things will change with time if we learn just how to show our most truest and authentic self. Right? When we learn to give emotional endearment, the most loving versions of ourselves, then maybe the lesson here is that that was what was needed all along. Not all these options. These options created, certain parts of the equation, but to finish the equation, we have to say what we want out of it. Right? Those things have to add up too. To the Ten of Wands, reveal the Ten of Wands for Scorpio upon their read. What about the burdens that we still carry? What do we need to see, please, upon that Ten of Wands for Scorpio in their read today? The Sun. And so happiness here is not just something that you stumble into, it's something that you create, right? That is why the burden is on your back right now. If we have to say, hey, this is what happiness is for me, and this is what I want, this is what I'm going for, this is what I genuinely feel that I need and want to develop in that direction, boom, now we have stakes in the game. Happiness is there for our creation. Happiness is there for our pursuit, but it's not just happiness that we just, we did a cartwheel and stumbled into. That's not what's going on here. Queen of Wands, we got that underneath here. Now going back over here, wanting to embrace what happiness actually looks like. It doesn't mean that we just carry all that baggage with us, or all that, that distancing factor, those defense mechanisms. It means we learn to drop the ones that are no longer serving us. The Tower. And something had to give. The burden, the understanding here, Scorpio, that to get to where I want, something got to go. Tower is ultimately meant in the design of our purpose, right? Trying to get us in the ways that we claim that we want, to the best direction that it knows how. The thing is, oftentimes is accompanied by a lot of chaos and destruction, mainly to get the things that are not meant for us out of the way. Grand scheme and hindsight will always tell us that, but in the moment, it's not fun. And so this is what we're grappling with right now, Scorpio, right? If we're saying we're pursuing happiness, then what has to be kind of struck by lightning to make all the things that weren't meant to stand crumble? What does happiness then look like to us? And so to the Ten of Swords, the real Ten of Swords upon this read, what is held upon the Ten of Swords in this journey today for Scorpio? To the Ten of Swords, Eight of Swords. Okay. We're going to get back to that because I had a feeling that card will pop out eventually, but it's not exactly as its original meaning is intended here. Ace of Cups. Okay. The notion of emotional fulfillment. Okay. Yeah. Nine of Swords. Okay. I'll get to that Eight of Swords, then get to that Nine of Swords, and then that Ace of Cups because it'll all explain itself in a very cyclical motion. Eight of Swords is a card. Let me drop the deck for a second. Eight of Swords is a card that's always representative of somebody trapped in an open air cage of swords. Can they climb out? More than likely, yes. Will it hurt on the way out? Also, yes. So, putting those two things together, it's not that we're hopelessly trapped in a cage. It's that the conclusions we come to are made more than likely conclusions that we don't like. Right, Scorpio? The things that we're looking at right now, especially across this read, because it's come up multiple times, is that we can't say we want something and simultaneously, the moment that it gets to us, be absolutely in a state of rejection about it. Right? That's not serving us. When we say that, oh, I want love, I want intimacy, well then, yeah, that's kind of obvious. But then the moment that it comes your way, boom, we're rejecting or sabotaging it, right? This told me that a lot under that Ace of Pentacles. Why do we have something, all these options available, and then boom, we say that we want it, and then our actions are counterproductive towards that. Then we have that Nine of Swords. Again, that Nine of Swords came out underneath the Ace of Wands over here. Nine of Swords over here representing what's more valuable to us. These connections that we're making. Again, those two scenarios of the business versus the Scorpio and the lovers. Those things go hand in hand, but it still spell out the same exact story. Is that if I'm too afraid to make that leap, then I've grown more comfortable with the idea and the aesthetic of it rather than the reality and the practice of it. And it's a harsh truth, but that's something that we're looking at, right, Scorpio? Because we're trying to undo it within ourselves and give ourselves the kindness necessary to process that. If I want to get to that Ace of Cups, that notion of fulfillment, with all this possibility that we started out with, right, connecting this to that, then we had to call some spades and say, yeah, I want that which terrifies me because I know how deeply I want it. If I'm saying I want love, then I know that being that vulnerable, that's something that's not really in my wheelhouse right now. And I'm afraid of it because I don't want to be hurt. And for the Scorpio, where it's a business opportunity, for me to go on that venture, go on that journey, I also got to kind of shut off other possibilities. And it feels better right now to have all those possibilities available to me than to say, oh, I invested in one, because what if it fails? My question for you as your reader, what if it doesn't? Right? What are the things that we pursue actually come to fruition when we put our best intentions and efforts towards it? Underneath it all, Ace of Pentacles, a new opportunity awaits. No matter what kind of Scorpio you are, again, once we deal with the tough things, the easy things become even easier. Promise. Okay? Define the major arcana strewn across the table for Scorpio on their read today. What defines the major arcana strewn across the table for Scorpio on their read? Show the cards that we need to see, please. Clarity upon this. We will first look to the Emperor. Yeah. What cards do we need to see, please, for Scorpio on this read? To the Emperor, Three of Wands. So the choice of anticipation of the horizon. Even beyond all my defensiveness, I know I gotta make a choice, so I better be ready to make the one that suits my best interest. Got it. At least the intentionality here is that we're trying to pick away at what is not useful for us in this scenario. Totally understood. To the Star, King of Cups. And that was a hope back here carried with the burden of all of our investments. Here, what can we properly let go of? Right? That's how I'm reading it, Scorpio, of if we're saying that we're harmonizing with the right thing, then what within us is not going to be useful in that scenario. Let's go to Judgment. The Chariot, card of Cancer. And being that is underneath the Ten of Pentacles, We need to be able to say, hey, the choices that I make, it may alter whatever journey I have in life, but it doesn't mean that I'm afraid to experience it. In fact, I was brave enough to make that choice, and with all things weighed out and valued, still move fast upon that journey of what life has in store for me. To the Wheel of Fortune, Nine of Cups. And the most endearing and loving version of the self, and also, let's call a spade, the most vulnerable, it will come out. It was waiting for a long time to come out and say what it needed to say. Now, what does that look like for you? Let's go to the Tower first. Okay. Underneath that tower, we see the Ten of Cups. What we thought we once harmonized with is now breaking apart in our face. And I see that, again, that tower as a good thing here because we open with Seven of Cups, right? So many possibilities. And now, it seems like everything's falling apart and all my possibilities and all my options are falling away. No, they're being taken out one by one because that's how it has to be, right? If we don't make a decision, the universe will make one for us. And so it'll try to do the best by you and make the best interest decision for you in that manner. So what we once harmonized with, and again, if we draw that Ten of Cups even over here, that Four of Pentacles over there was just the hyper focus on the investment, but not the actual being of it, right? That Ten of Cups now here saying, okay, what we thought we were once cool with, time to break some things apart. The next part, to the Sun, the High Priestess, knowing on the horizon that my happiness is my duty. It's not a shared one of any capacity. This is for me, and I can create it, but I got to go through the proper steps to get there. Resolution. The real cards of resolution for Scorpio in this read was held upon the space of resolution for Scorpio in this read today. Was held in resolution for Scorpio in this read today. The Sun. Interesting. So happiness is right there. Are we brave enough to go on a journey where we make decisions to get there? Or are we saying we'll just stumble by it? Because if we stumble by it, it'll also eventually pass us by equally. What does it mean to actually chase happiness? What does it mean to revel in being happy? These are the things I want you to sit with today, right, Scorpio? And the Six of Wands. Victory, recognition, and choice. Here, the notion that, okay, once I do the hard work, once I make the decisions that must be made, even the tough ones, then eventually things can and will go right if I allow them to. Underneath it all, Nine of Cups, the fulfillment of the self. No matter where you are, so let's recap of this read, right? No matter where you are, Scorpio, understand that if we're more comfortable with the things that have kept us back, even with all these options made available to us, if we're more comfortable in that zone of, being enamored with the hypothetical, then we're not going to get to where we need to be, right? Long story short, all these options are great, at least from the jump off standpoint of what we need to go do. But after that, it's like we have to make our choices, and our choices now become hard because we have to show our investment, what our investment actually looks like, and how we get there, which means that once we have stakes in the game, we have to pinpoint where we are. And I'm looking at Scorpio who is very defensive about that right now. And guess what? That's okay. I'm not judging you for it. But what I am saying is the bigger lesson to learn here is that happiness is right at your doorstep if you allow it to be. And the way we get there with all these choices made available is define where we are and where we want to go with it. I promise you, there's a lot more that will come out when we just say, I am more interested in pursuing this opportunity full throttle instead of just being interested in all eyes on me, all these cups and opportunities presented my way. Right? When I can make that choice for me, that I can decide what happiness looks like for me. So all in all, that's what I see in your read today, Scorpio. Again, give yourself the kindness and grace to say, hey, this is where I'm at right now. This is what I'm dealing with. Because after that, we can make our decisions in the best ways possible moving forward. That's all I got in your read. I hope this conversation helped. And yeah, you got this, okay?